Hi, welcome to our next installment, Produce Origins and Determining Produce Origins. So for this, I'm going to do another quick little introductory video and give you a rough idea of what to expect, maybe some tips for trying to help you conduct this lab as painlessly as possible. So let's go ahead and go. I'm going to click over and show you the lab and we'll go through it together. Okay. Whenever you go to the grocery store and you walk into the produce section, there's always lots of different things for you to pick from. Fruits, vegetables, etc. Doesn't matter which season it is. It might be cold outside, hot outside. The stuff that you're buying might be in season, it might not. And all of the fruits and vegetables in front of you obviously came from somewhere. This lab is about determining where they come from and how food and cost are associated with one another. On all of the items that you buy, or most of the time whenever you buy produce, there will be a thing called a PLU sticker, which PLU stands for Price Lookup. And the PLU sticker just gives an identity as to what type of thing you're buying. Different apples have different numbers, and they're priced differently. And this is why you're not supposed to put different types of apples in the same bag. Because then when the checker is going through checkout, they might have to either take all the apples out, or they might miskey them, they might overcharge you or undercharge you. So sometimes when people are sneaky, what they do is they'll put like all the expensive apples in a bag, which means they're apples, even if they're $2 a pound more. Give me a break. Anyway, they'll put all the apples, the expensive apples in a bag, and they'll pull the PLU stickers off except like a cheaper apple. Anyway, if you do that, it's pretty sad. Well, the stickers tell a lot about them, and some of the stickers even tell whether or not an item is organic. And in some rare instances, you'll even find a GMO sticker. But that's, again, pretty rare. For this lab, what you're going to have to do is go to a grocery store. It's going to be a little bit awkward, I won't lie. You're going to go to a grocery store, and you're going to take your lab manual with you. And you're going to fill out a chart involving the produce. And once you fill the chart out entirely, fill the whole chart out. And if you go to some sad little grocery store where you can't fill out this chart, go to another one and finish the chart. Complete the chart. You will have to complete the chart. And on the chart, you'll list how much the item cost, where it came from, and whether or not the item is organic. So and you can see that here in the instructions. So let me just go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Oh, in the event that you don't know where a particular country is, like if it's coconuts from Fuji or Fiji or whatever. Sorry, Fuji's a mountain. Fiji. Even I get it mixed up. Anyway, if they're imported from New Zealand, and New Zealand is not listed on your map, which it's not, you can just write New Zealand. Anyway, on page 173, you will see the chart that's listed. The produce item or name, and be specific. Don't just write apple, write Jonathan apple, or write Gala apple, or whatever type it is, if you know it. Then write the PLU code, write how much it cost, where it came from. In the organic column, if it is organic, just check it. Like, put a check. Or write yes, whatever you want to do. The way you can tell if it's organic or not is really pretty simple. Here, I'll show you a picture. It'll say organic on the front. But in the event that it doesn't, take this banana for instance. You'll notice this PLU number has 5 digits in it, 94011. 4011 is just typical banana, but not like a plantation banana or a mini banana. But most PLU codes have 4 numbers, and this one has 5. So the 9 in the front indicates that it's organic. Anytime there are 5 numbers on a PLU, and the first one starts with a 9, you're buying an organic product. So complete the chart entirely, and down here at the bottom are some more helpful hints, and I'll go over them with you real quickly, but I include them in the lab so when you get there you don't like totally deer in the headlight blank. If it's organic, all you do again is check the column. Only record what you find on the PLU sticker. Don't record anything from anywhere else. They might be in a different type of box or this or that. Just stick to what's on the PLU. Organic commonly has a 5, and I just told you that. Starts with a 9. So I'll skip to the next one. If something is from the U.S., try to list the specific state. Sometimes it'll say product of Texas on it or whatever. If there's no state available, just write domestic. Next one. If anyone of authority approaches you and asks you, what are you doing here? They might think that you're running some sort of random state health inspection. Just show them your lab and tell them what you're doing. You'll probably end up helping you. Sometimes I've had students tell me that they get really funny looks from people asking, what are they doing? Like, show up with a clipboard, or show up with their lab manual and a pen. They're like, looking at produce and checking stuff. Sometimes that makes buyers nervous because it's like, what's wrong with those carrots? That kind of thing. So if you're approached, just tell them what you're doing. If you see a 0 in front on a 5-digit PLU sticker, which is rare, but it does happen. So like if on banana, instead of it being, starting with a 9, it will instead start with a 0, just ignore the 0 and focus on the last 4 digits. Yeah, you got to look up 20 items, and that's it. Once you're done with those 20 items, you can answer the questions. Oh, you might say this is a little bit cheesy, and I don't care, because I require it. On page 174, you will notice there is a map of Central, South, and North America. Most of your food's going to come from here. And what I want you to do is circle it, highlight it, color it in, something to indicate, to show you how far away your food's coming. You see how I have a scale for 1,000 miles? It takes a long time, and food has to travel a long way to get there. So, this is all about showing you how far your food had to come. During the winter months, your food's generally imported. There's a whole lot of it that comes in, and the cost of produce goes up. Early fall, late summer, produce usually drops. That's why we have all of our big holiday feasts like Thanksgiving then, because that's the harvest time when food is the cheapest. And they're celebrating a harvest before a winter. So on a side note, the reason why produce is usually cheaper during the summer and fall is because domestically in the United States, that's when we grow most of our food. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it was thought that traditionally humans would stuff full of carbs and sugars and apples, and because apples are sugar in nature, and they would eat as much of it as they could at the end of the fall to fatten up for the winter. So sometimes you hear that so-and-so is getting fattened up for the winter, or, you're fattening up an animal for the winter or whatever. It's because, sort of like a hibernating bear, it's hard to find food in the winter, so you need to have more calorie intake so that you're truly fattening up to lose the fat over the winter until the time it starts to grow again in the spring. Costs in produce are the same way. So you'll notice that produce costs are usually higher in the wintertime and early spring, and lower in the fall and late summer. So whenever you're conducting this lab, you'll kind of notice that. And pay attention to it the next time you come back in the opposite time of the season. And in the event, again, that your country doesn't appear here, it's from New Zealand or whatever, you can just write New Zealand and circle it. The rest of this should be pretty self-explanatory. The questions, all very straightforward. They go through page 176. There you go. Really take notice to how hard it is to acquire produce and where it comes from. This was a lab that I wrote, and just one day when I was at the grocery store. And I hope you see how it ties into agroecology, into food webs, how environmental science is you have to manipulate environment all over the world just to provide for basic needs here, regardless of what season it is. Well, on that note, go ahead and get out there and live that dream and fight that power, because nobody's going to live it or fight it for you. And I'll see you later. Bye.